Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. that's been closed for the last 5 years.
I love this museum, and the new Hall of Fossils exhibit features around 700 fossils, including everything from giant dinosaurs like T-Rexes to reptiles and mammals to fossilized plants and insects. The museum says the exhibition tells the story of 3.7 billion years of life on Earth and encourages visitors to understand the choices that we all make today will have an impact on the future. I am such a dino nerd. I think they're so cool.
No, just when you thought that would get any cooler.
No.
That's really exciting.
I'll have to take a visit.
Thank you for your help this week.
Sure,
I appreciate it. I think Eric is on deck tomorrow, whether he knows it or not.
Surprise.
Thanks for watching, everybody. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right across the Midwest, but not Wisconsin. We'll tell you if that could be changing.
Madison Police Department is telling people to stop selling. We'll have the very latest.
.com Alert Center. This is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Hundreds of tornadoes have tormented the Midwest over the last 6 weeks, but knock on wood, severe weather has largely missed Wisconsin so far this year.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has more on how unusual this quiet start is and what the rest of the tornado season might have in store locally. Dave?
Well, Susan and Eric, one lone twister has touched down in Wisconsin in 2019 so far. That's the Coon Valley tornado on May 24th. Peak winds of about 75 miles per hour. It was rated an EF0 tornado, so that's just southeast of La Crosse. The problem for Wisconsin, however, is that severe weather season is just getting underway. In 2019, it seems like there have been tornadoes everywhere you turn. Nearly 550 twisters were reported nationwide in the month of May alone. The ingredients necessary for tornadoes mixing together perfectly, making Tornado Alley feel like an interstate.
The position of the jet is really a big determining factor in whether or not you have an active tornadic season.
Professor of Meteorology at the UW, John Martin, says weather systems on the southern side of the jet stream had free rein to produce one severe weather event after the next during April and May. Across Wisconsin, however, it was a slightly different story.
We had a really persistent wintertime almost jet stream flow. And we're well north of it at that time of year, and in fact so far north of it this year that we were colder than normal for the months of April and May, and everybody can complain about that, and it rained a lot.
The May 24th Coon Valley tornado is the latest start to tornado season across the state since 2016. However, Martin says just because it was a quiet spring severe weather-wise doesn't mean Mother Nature has spared southern Wisconsin.
Our season doesn't begin until about mid-June, and that might even be slightly early. Certainly July and August are the months of biggest concern for our state for any kind of severe weather, including tornadoes.
While we can expect general storm activity to increase into the summer months in Madison, our storm prospects for the rest of 2019 are much tougher to pin down.
Whether or not this particular year does that, there's almost no way to foretell that a couple of months in advance.
Now, if projections for a cooler and wetter summer ring true, then Wisconsin will likely see fewer tornadoes than normally. I also talked to Dr. Martin about if climate change is playing a role in the high number of tornadoes nationwide this year. Hear what he had to say on News 3 Now at 6.
All right, Dave, interesting look there. And with that, let's get a look at our first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canulty on the weather patio. Gary, I'm sure you found that interesting.
I did, and severe weather may affect us tonight. We'll have to keep a close eye out on it. Let's start out by taking a look at the severe weather outlook. We're under a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for tonight with an enhanced risk farther to the north. Tornado threat not very high with this pattern, but it's more likely to produce strong straight line winds and hail. A new severe thunderstorm watch has just come out until 11 p.m. I believe it does include Crawford County of southwestern Wisconsin, but mainly its areas across southeastern Minnesota, northeastern Iowa, and parts of west central Wisconsin up through the La Crosse area. Current temperatures are in the mid-70s to around 80 degrees. We have a little cloud cover here, which is limiting temperatures, but to the west, those temperatures are a little bit warmer. And notice those dew point temperatures, mid-60s to around 70. Thunderstorm chances will arrive especially after midnight, but after the storms end tomorrow, look for a high of 82 degrees. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
And this just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Police have identified the 48-year-old man found dead in the Beaver Dam River over the weekend. Two kayakers found George Stodola's body in the river. This was south of Cooper Street and north of Highway 151 Saturday afternoon. Investigators say the manner of death here is still unknown. The circumstances leading up to that death remain under investigation. They believe there is no threat to the public. Police said Darlington man is lucky to be alive after he was pinned by a riding lawnmower on Friday morning. Officials say Brian Bryce was mowing the lawn on East River Road when he was trapped in an embankment, became pinned underneath that machine. Bryce was able to call police before he lost the ability to speak. Darlington Police Chief Jason King said that Bryce's cell phone saved his life. First responders were able to free Bryce and transport him to Memorial Hospital. Bryce is now home and recovering. Now, King said that while in the long term, the injuries here are minor, the situation was extremely serious.
An 18-month-old child has only minor injuries after falling out of a second-floor window. Lake Delton police officers arrived at a home Saturday after a neighbor called them and said they saw young children throwing toys out the window and felt the situation was unsafe. Officers advised the family member to make sure that the window was secured. But later, the children were able to open the window again, and an 18-month-old fell out. The child was taken to a local hospital where they were later released. Lake Delton police reported the incident to Child Protective Services and said they will forward the case to the district attorney.
The owner of the building that houses Madison's First Rastafarian Church is looking to evict the current tenants. Jossie Schwark and Dylan Bangert founded the Lion of Judah House of Rastafari on West Mifflin in Madison. The founders say the church is a cannabis sanctuary and members use marijuana as part of their religious practice. Madison police served a drug search warrant at the property last week and arrested Bangert and Schwark on various drug charges. The men will appear in Dane County Circuit Court for an eviction hearing on June 18th. Schwark says he plans to fight that eviction.
A loaded gun was found during security screening at the Dane County Regional Airport Monday. That's according to the TSA. They say a firearm loaded with 3 rounds was detected during an X-ray screening at a checkpoint. The TSA said any determination about a criminal charge is up to law enforcement. This is the second firearm discovered at the Madison airport so far this year. Last year, TSA intercepted 4 at the airport.
People who live in Fort Atkinson are speaking out about a controversial post that the police department there posted on their Facebook page.
News 3's Jamie Perez is here to share what that post says and how the community is responding. Jamie?
Well, the police are basically asking people in this post to stop selling and possessing CBD products in Fort Atkinson. The post says that CBD oil has to be prescribed by a physician, and in order to legally have it, you must have a doctor's note. The post got hundreds of comments online. A lot of people are up in arms about the police's stance on this. I found out today that several places that used to sell CBD oil have since stopped. Now a lot of people are going to neighboring towns for the product. We spoke to the owner of the hemp house in Deerfield, which is about 25 minutes outside of town. He says he is now getting all of the businesses of Fort Atkinson customers.
They want to come to us, we certainly will take excellent care of them. But it's unfortunate that they have to leave their hometown, and these businesses that depend on that for a living every day, you know, have to shut down and take that out of their store.
We did reach out to police for additional comment on that post, but they said they are not answering any questions about this. However, they did say that they would post a follow-up message in response to all of the comments that they've gotten on that Facebook post. We'll have more on the legality of CBD oil on state and federal levels coming up tonight at 6.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Jamie. Sure.
Wisconsin lawmakers are working to ensure access to safe abortion procedures and to protect the doctors who perform them. Today at the Capitol, Democrats and advocates introduced the Abortion Access Protection Act that looks to repeal Wisconsin's 1849 law criminalizing abortion. That law has not been enforced since the passing of Roe v. Wade. But if that Supreme Court decision is ever overturned, Wisconsin doctors would then face a felony conviction and prison time for providing an abortion.
We are seeing a wave of abortion bans enacted across the nation. But many people don't know that here in our state, if and when Roe v. Wade falls, then abortion is immediately banned in Wisconsin.
9 states have passed restrictive abortion laws in the past 2 months. Governor Evers has vowed to veto the abortion restrictions the state assembly passed in Wisconsin last month.
Police and firefighters from across Wisconsin say public safety is being put at risk because of poor road conditions. Representatives from organizations representing state troopers, firefighters, sheriffs, and police officers are calling on the legislature to pass a sustainable road funding plan. They did not advocate for any particular proposal, but they say something needs to be done. In a Wisconsin Professional Police Association statewide poll, 91% of Wisconsin residents said the infrastructure is moderate to a high priority to them.
We as sheriffs know that our elected officials have a tough job, but we need sustainable, long-term funding for roads so that the safety of the motoring public and those who respond to the emergencies can be improved. So let us work together to develop a plan for long-term funding for our roads.
Governor Tony Evers has put forward an 8-cent per gallon gas tax as part of his plan to increase road funding by over $600 million over 2 years. But Republican Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald last week said the gas tax hike would be rejected.
Top leaders for the UW system are trying to convince lawmakers to make an historic investment in university infrastructure.
Historic because they're asking for more than $1 billion. Danica Lewis is here now with the details. Danica?
Well, UW System President Ray Cross is saying that the main purpose of those universities all across the state is to attract and retain talent for Wisconsin's workforce. And he says he can't do that without construction on campuses. Governor Evers' budget proposal allocated $1.1 billion toward those projects. That includes classroom renovations and upgrades to Camp Randall. But the Republican majority has rejected the governor's entire plan. Cross and UW Madison Chancellor Rebecca Blank made their plea to those lawmakers today from the Ag Hall, a building that's 116 years old.
Our focus is on repair, renovate, and replace. That's our focus. And that's part of our challenge. How do we fix these? They're all coming to the end of their natural lives at the same time.
Cross says the majority of buildings at UW schools are at least 40 years old, some of them 50, 60, 70 years old. He says most of the capital investments would improve science buildings around the state. Now, Cross says this is in direct response to employers, as he put it, screaming at the UW system to produce more qualified workers. Since they rejected the governor's plan, Republicans at the state capitol are responsible for drafting their own capital budget and moving it through the legislature, a conversation that is supposed to happen next week.
All right, Danica Lewis reporting. Danica, thank
Sure.
you. Village of Shorewood Hills Police Department has a new medication drop box where you can safely dispose of unused or unwanted prescriptions. Attorney General Josh Kaul was there for the official opening today. Kaul said the opioid epidemic is the most significant public safety issue we are facing in Wisconsin. He joined Police Chief Aaron Chapin and community activists urging people to keep prescription drugs out of the wrong hands.
And medications remain in medicine cabinets. They can potentially become diverted for illegal use, and that can lead to people becoming addicted. So by disposing of drugs properly, citizens across the state can help prevent addiction.
Medication drop boxes also keep drugs out of our water system. Wastewater treatment facilities cannot process medication, so flushing them down your toilet leads to drugs ending up in our lakes, rivers, and groundwater. More to come on News 3. Now at 5. Up next, Virginia's governor calling for gun law changes after 12 people were killed at a municipal building in Virginia Beach last week.
And it's not just Democrats challenging the president. Why some Republicans are raising concerns about Mexican tariffs with the president as well.
And on Wall Street, the Dow is sent soaring over 500 points today. Tech stocks bounced back with a nearly 200-point climb for the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 jumped 59. We'll be right back. Gun control is back in the national debate days after the country's deadliest mass shooting so far this year.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam says the state's response to last Friday's mass shooting that left 12 people dead must go beyond memorials and prayer vigils. Northam is convening a special session of the state legislature to reintroduce the same gun control bills which failed in the last session. He wants to give local governments the ability to limit firearms in public buildings, mandate universal background checks, and have a ban on assault weapons, including suppressors and bump stocks.
Delay only means what it always means, that there will be a next time. I want this to be the last time.
Virginia's House of Delegates Speaker Kirk Cox calls the special session hasty and added, "We believe addressing gun violence starts with holding criminals accountable for their actions, not infringing on the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens."
President Trump may be overseas this week, but back in Washington, Congress is challenging him on several fronts, from his proposed tariffs on Mexico to a growing drumbeat for impeachment proceedings. On Capitol Hill, the White House dispatched aides to Republicans who are concerned about the impact on U.S. consumers and trade. Some GOP lawmakers have been discussing ways to block the tariffs from taking effect. The president called it, quote, foolish.
I want to be supportive of the president, but my honest opinion is that the short-term gain is not worth the long-term pain.
While Republicans battle the president over trade, Democrats are grappling with their own investigations of the administration and whether to move forward with impeachment.
President Trump has been a frequent critic of British Prime Minister Theresa May, but on day 2 of his visit to the UK, he had warmer words for her, saying she is a tremendous professional. May is resigning after failing to negotiate a deal for Britain to withdraw from the European Union. President Trump has a full schedule before he heads back to the United States: dinner with Prince Charles, and then a series of events to mark the 75th anniversary of D-Day, which is Thursday.
Let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with our forecast. Gary?
Well, we're watching some severe weather out to the west of us. In fact, severe thunderstorm watch has now been issued until 11 p.m. for Crawford County, as well as areas up into northeastern Iowa and the La Crosse area and parts of southeastern Minnesota. Severe thunderstorms have been developing pretty rapidly around the Twin Cities. That cluster is heading southward. Now, we had some thunderstorms in eastern Iowa that blew up, and then you can see how quickly they diminished as they pushed eastward in Wisconsin. That's a sign that there's warm air aloft, and that may initially suppress this first batch of thunderstorm development. You can see a number of severe thunderstorm warnings south of the Twin Cities over toward Rochester. In fact, the city of Rochester right now under a severe thunderstorm warning. The main threat here is probably going to be from strong straight line winds, because these thunderstorms, as they push southeastward, are moving pretty rapidly. But again, as they get into Wisconsin, there may be a weakening of the initial batch of thunderstorms, and our severe weather threat may come later on tonight. Now, because of that, the Storm Prediction Center severe weather outlook, and there's the watches, you can see where the storms are right now, but the highest risk of severe thunderstorms is actually going to be to the north of us, where the mid-level temperatures are a little bit less, and the thunderstorms can maintain their intensity as they push eastward into central and northern Wisconsin. The southern part of the state, by the time the storms get here, they should be weakening a little bit because of the time of day, as well as that warmer air aloft that may suppress the first batch of storms. But sometimes, you know, these stronger storms can kind of have a life of their own, so we'll have to just watch them as they head southeastward. The live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, notice the clearing there. Sunshine has returned to southwestern Wisconsin after the clouds in the last couple of hours. WISC Skycam also starting to show a little bit of sunshine as well. High temperature today so far, 76 degrees, the low 52, very close to the averages of 75 and 52. Winds are out of the south-southwest at 9 miles per hour, and we're at that high temperature for the day. Dew-point temperature continues to creep up. It's now in the middle 60s, so it's becoming a little more humid. It's also a lot warmer out to the west. These thunderstorms are right on the northern edge of that heat, where the temperature contrast is a little bit greater, and it's also right on the nose of the more significant moisture, where dew-point temperatures are in the upper 60s to lower 70s. And if you look at the surface winds, look where they're taking that moisture, right into that cluster of storms over southeastern portions of Iowa. But the upper level winds will take them, the main batch, more to the east rather than to the southeast. So again, these thunderstorms may develop a little farther south with time. Notice the little lines starting to form where the wind damage potential might be a little bit higher. We're just going to have to wait and see if they maintain their strength into the more significant moisture. Thunderstorm clusters have moved into eastern portions of the country, but the west right now, you can see some thunderstorms out west, but really the weather pattern has settled down quite a bit. So while we're seeing some severe weather potential in the upper Midwest for tonight, tomorrow that'll shift to the south, and it's not going to be nearly as widespread as it has been over the last couple of weeks. A cold front pushing through Minnesota also triggering those thunderstorms. This warm front marks the leading edge of the more significant moisture into the northeastern portion of Iowa. And look at the temperatures, upper 80s and lower 90s. That's where summer is, not too far away. But while we'll probably make the low 80s for tomorrow, I think we probably will stay more in the 70s to around 80 all the way through much of next week. 63 for the overnight low temperature. Partly cloudy skies this evening. Give way to thunderstorms overnight, and some of those could be strong. For tomorrow, any lingering storms will end early. Then it'll turn partly sunny and warm with a high temperature of 82, and the dew-point temperature will probably drop off a little bit. You can see on future track that the storms coming in from the northwest. The first batch passing mainly north of Madison, then the second batch coming through later on at night when they'll weaken a little bit. Low temperatures will drop into the lower 60s. High temperatures tomorrow should make the lower 80s once the sun comes back. Tomorrow night, maybe a little patchy fog with low temperatures in the upper 50s, and then high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s as we head into the day on Thursday. Rainfall amounts where the strong to severe thunderstorms move through, maybe over an inch of rain. In other places nearby, not as much. Some areas may miss out on the rain altogether. As we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, you can see those temperatures generally in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Just a slight chance of thunderstorms Saturday night into Sunday, and another chance from late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, here's the view on I-39, 90, 94 at County T. Traffic moving pretty steadily on the interstate right now, but the Beltline, that's a different story. We're seeing delays in the eastbound direction beginning near Monona Drive and going back to west of Verona Road. Westbound, we're seeing delays around Whitney Way to Gammon Road, and then also from around Todd Drive back to John Nolan Drive. It's about a half-hour commute on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, almost 20 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 28 minutes down to Janesville on I-39, 90, 19 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 17 minutes to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert Traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Still ahead on News 3 Now at 5, a new study is revealing new information about probiotics, what consumers should look for. The story after a short break. If you use a daily probiotic supplement, you might want to take a second look at the label.
A new study finds labels on many probiotics don't give consumers the information they need to make an informed purchase. CBS correspondent Wendy Gillette has more.
Katie Linden is a holistic health coach and a busy mom of a toddler. She strongly believes in the benefits of probiotics.
It helps with my digestion, so less bloating, ease of digestion, ease of elimination, helped my skin.
But she knows choosing a probiotic is not easy.
That's a bit challenging when you look at the grocery stores and health food stores, but you want to really research the company.
New research from Georgetown University Medical Center examined the labels of 93 different types of probiotics commonly found in drugstores. The study revealed only 33% of the probiotic labels could be linked to health benefits supported by clinical evidence, and many lacked basic information consumers need to make an educated choice.
Often they wouldn't list a dose. They wouldn't list a strain. This is not illegal, but it's just not helpful for people to know if there's evidence or not.
Researchers say the best way to know you're getting the kind of probiotic you want is to look for a label that lists the family, species, and strain of the live bacteria. And a high number of strains is not necessarily a good thing.
Let's say you have 10 different strains and every one is at a super low dose. It's probably not going to do anything. It's probably not even going to survive to get through the stomach.
Researchers say there's a growing number of studies that show the benefits of probiotics.
And it has 3 billion CFU.
That's why Linden vows to keep doing the research for herself and her clients. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Just have to get through tonight.
Yeah,
and nice weather.
Some severe weather out to our west. We're watching storms in Minnesota and the western portion of Wisconsin heading in our direction right now. Number of severe thunderstorm warnings around the Rochester, Minnesota area. Now, what's interesting is this is the way the storms are moving right now. Nothing imminent for southern Wisconsin, and future radar over the next 3 hours still keep those storms north and west of La Crosse. So again, our better chances for severe weather are going to be later on tonight, which hopefully will limit the severe weather potential here, but hail and gusty winds can't be ruled out with the stronger storms.
All right, something to keep an eye on. We'll have another update in 30 minutes on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.